Hello and welcome once more to User One Retro. Thank you for joining me for this retro game review today, and I'm going to be taking a look at the ZX Spectrum version of Chase HQ, released by Ocean Software in 1989. Now, the original arcade game was released a year before by Taito Corporation and was basically seen as one of the finest driving games ever made. Obviously, the title of the best driving game ever made obviously goes to Sega's Outrun, released in 1986, but Chase HQ put a different spin on the whole racing genre. Basically, you play as a pair of Crockett and Tubbs rip-offs in their Porsche 925, and your mission is to chase down bad guys who have escaped in their souped up motor cars, and you have to bash them off the road. Once you've done that, you progress to the next stage, where you basically do it all over again, but this time there are more people on the roads, there are more twists and turns on the road ahead, and you still have that elusive time limit of 60 seconds. Now, when you first start off in the game, you have the aforementioned time limit, and you also have 3 turbos with which to help you. Now, the thing is, as soon as you get up to the vagrant in question, your time limit resets to 60 seconds, and you have to use that time well to actually bring the miscreant to justice. And at the beginning of every stage, your turbos and your time will replenish, which is a good thing, as the stages do get, as I say, progressively harder, especially on stage 4, when you have stone walls at the side of the track or the road. And not only that, it's both sides as well, and the turns do get a bit more, let's just say they get a little bit more sharp, so you have to be a little bit more mindful of your braking, let's just say. Now, when it was released on the Spectrum, actually when it was released on the home computers of the time, you had a range of adaptations. You had the ZX Spectrum, you had the Commodore 64, the Amstrad CPC 464, you had the Atari ST, and you also had the Commodore Amiga as well. Later it would be released on the Sega Master System and on the Sega Saturn in a duo pack with its sequel, SCI Chase HQ 2. Now, you would also have a version for the Super Nintendo called Super Chase HQ. I have not played that one, but from what I do remember seeing for the screenshots, it's based in car, so it's basically you view the dashboard, so you get a little bit more into the action. And you also get a Chase HQ game for the Sega Mega Drive / Genesis, which I do believe is called, I think that's also called Super Chase HQ. It might be called Super Chase HQ 2, I can't remember, but the graphics are a little bit scaled down, let's just say, but it doesn't make it any less fun. Although with that game you do have a choice of vehicles to choose from. So, as I said, it was released for the home computers in many various versions, and many people have said that the ZX Spectrum version is the pinnacle of all the versions. They said it's got the best graphics, it's got the best scaling, the best music on the title screen as you can possibly hear now, and also the better sound effects as well. And also it is the most complete version, as it also has a end sequence when you complete the game. I think the Commodore 64 version just had a congratulations sign over the end of the game, and that's literally it. But as I say, at the time it was lauded as the best version, but does the Spectrum version still hold up? That is the question. Now, I loved this game back in the day. In fact, my first instance of playing it on the Spectrum was in the Arcadia compilation from Ocean. Again, as I say, for the ZX Spectrum, and it came bundled with the New Zealand story and Operation Thunderbolt, with Taito having a great relation with Ocean Software, especially as they would also release Operation Wolf Raston on the Imagine label, and also Space Gun later on in about 91, I do believe. Now, as I say, when I first played this, I absolutely adored it. I mean, it was fast, it was frantic, and it was fun, with you always battling against the time to try and basically catch up to the criminal that you was pursuing at the time. And having those 60 seconds, you know, loads of challenges are thrown your way, like splits in the roads with you having to take the correct turn. You've also got other road users, you've got roadside objects, as I say, like signs, buildings, huge stone rocks, and you've also got objects on the road as well, like barriers and so forth. So we're going to get into this. We're going to do the options first, and we are going to go with Kempston joystick. Now, before I start, at the top, I do love that you've got the blues and twos at the very top, and they flash when you catch up to the criminal, which I think is a really awesome addition. And you've also got a little black box there where a portrait comes up, and in the white bar underneath you get basically text. Now, on the 128K version, you've also got speech as well. I think it might have been on the 48K version with the help of the Kara speech edition. I can't remember that one. So now let's get into it.
Man.
Whoa! Whoops! That's not gone too well. So this is what I mean about the fork in the road. You have to literally take whatever the arrow points to, and it does make it harder if you take the wrong fork. Use turbo to catch up. Use another turbo to catch up. No! I don't remember the game being this hard. I really don't remember the game being this hard whatsoever. Oh, I forgot to go back into high gear. Whoops. See what I mean about the little the lights at the top flashing? That is a pretty awesome touch. I do love that. That still amazes me even now. There we go. I do love the fact you've got the detective's hand outside the car asking him to pull over. That's pretty awesome. And straight on to stage 2. I've actually forgotten how good this game really is. And you know what? I know some people nowadays, like especially like kids, will probably turn around and say, "Oh, this game is boring. All it is just driving and all that." But the thing is, though, it's a lot more than that. It is a hell of a lot more than that. You have to basically judge when to do your turbos. You also have to manage other road users as well. The road's narrow as well. You have to try and pick the right side of the fork in the road, and you know, it's not easy. It really isn't easy. It's actually a lot more difficult than, you know. So now I've got to go left up ahead. You know what? We're going to have a little bit of turbo help here, I think. There we go, just in time. "29 seconds left." More, come on, more. Yes, I know, Nancy, my time's running out, I know. One more time. No! No! That's the only thing. As soon as you hit continue, the actual meter goes down. So, like the damage meter. I don't think I'm going to do this. Ah,
Your time's up.
damn it. Ah. One more try for being a good boy. Yeah, all right, Nancy. No need to rub it in, love. No need to rub it in. Okay. 7th. Well, there you are. What can I tell you? Oh. So yes, the question: does it still hold up? Yes. Yes, I think it does. I think it does still hold up. It's still a good game. Obviously, if you're emulating, don't use an analog stick because that's, you know, it's terrible. It really is terrible. Let's see if I can. No. Okay, so we want gear can be J. Accelerate, brake, left, right. Quit is F, G is pause, H is turbo. There we go. So, you know what? Let's have another go. See if I can do better with keyboard. Whoops. I think if you're playing this on a Spectrum, like a proper Spectrum or even a Spectrum Next, when you're playing with joystick, it's a lot easier, I think. Still a tough little game, but still lots of fun. Ah! Oh! Just in time. And that's another thing as well, you have to manage your turbos. If you just use them willy-nilly, when you need to catch up back up to the bad guy, it makes it a lot more harder if you haven't got any turbos. So that's another thing with the game as well. Got him. Yeah, creep. Pull over. Git. And on to the next creep. Again. Special Investigation Airborne. Right, so I've got to go left. Another thing as well with this is that it's you've still got the sensation of speed with this, which, even though it's only a small playing area, you know, it still handles the rising and dipping of the road really, really well. You know, I mean, even though with Outrun they tried to keep the graphics the same size, it went against it in terms of speed, which I think is, you know, it just went against it. You know, I mean, Outrun was still a good conversion for the Spectrum, but where they tried to keep the scale of the graphics, it just went against them in the end, and like the speed was sacrificed overall. But if you play that on a Spectrum Next and turn the speed of the clock speed up to 7 megahertz, then you'll get something that's more akin to the speed of the arcade version. and that makes it a lot more playable in my book. So that's what I mean with more twists and turns in the road. It made it a lot harder. A lot harder. But yeah, it's, as I say, it's still a good game. It really is still a good game. You know, and it does hold up very, very well. You know, the graphics are still really, really good. The sound is great. The music on the title screen is really good. Really, really good. The overall display at the very top, it's innovative. It really is. So overall, I would still say this is one of, if not the best home computer version that you can play. The Amiga version, I played it recently, and while it's better than I remembered, it's still not the best. A lot more could have been done with it, you know. The Spectrum version is, as I say, is the better version to play. I mean, I haven't played the Commodore 64 version. I know that obviously, as I say, is a load of people have said that while it is okay, it's not the best, and that the Amstrad version is pretty much the same as the Spectrum version. But I've not played it, so I can't really make that. I can't really say if it's better or not. The Spectrum version, for my money, is the better version, without a shadow of a doubt. You know, and as I say, I think kudos to Ocean to what they produced for the humble 128K. You know, in my eyes, it's still a classic. It is still a classic game, and I implore you to try the Spectra version. You know, if you want to have a go at for me, the definitive home version of the game. I mean, obviously, until like the Sega Saturn version was practically one for one with the graphics, because obviously it's the Sega Saturn. But you know, even then there was like a couple of problems with it. It was like the gear press was in like the wrong place. It was something or other anyway. I can't remember offhand, but yeah, definitely give the Spectrum version a go if you want to play a good version of the game, for definite. That's the end of today's episode. I hope you've enjoyed this little look at Chase HQ on the ZX Spectrum, and it's inspired you to have a crack at it. So until the next episode, this is Use One Retro saying thank you very much for tuning in and watching. Be safe, stay well, and I hope to see you in the next episode. So until then, goodbye for now.